Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back to it's another episode of the new Nerd in Town. It's been so long since I've seen you all, even though I can never see you or hear you. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to the show. We are here. We're going to discuss some things. It's been so long. Although I did have a blast. I had an amazing time. And I'm just super excited to uh, to be here with everyone. I'm just having a blast. I'm having a blast. Uh, Everything was great. The honeymoon was fantastic. Chelsea and I had a wonderful time over in Scotland and England. London, to be more precise, and Windsor. We did go to see the Queen over at Windsor Palace, or Windsor Castle. The Buckingham Palace is her residence in London. We were not in London for the attack in Parliament Square. We were on the train headed down, so if any of you A, remember that, and B, were thinking of us, just a blanket thank you. But we were safe. We were about an hour and a half out when everything was finished over there. And I don't mean to sound too like plateaued about it, but yeah, it was fine. Everything was good to go for that. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves while I was away. I know a lot has been happening. I was trying to keep up on Twitter and trying to just keep up anywhere and everywhere as far as what's going on. Some big things have been happening. Some big things have not been happening, but will be happening. And guess what? I'm here for the foreseeable future. May have to cancel one or two upcoming shows within the future, not the near future, not the distant future, but just in the future. And other than that, I am good to go. I am back full force. We'll be playing games. I won Players Unknown, and I've never played Battle Royales before, but I've been watching everyone and their mother play it, and I have to play it. So I won that in someone's channel. I think it was Clam Taco. He was giving them away. And, you know, once Passover's finished and I've been able to eat some bread, we'll get back into it. But why don't we just start from the top? Start it all the way from the top and just get right into what we've missed. Because I have to tell you, some amazing things have happened since I've been gone. And I want to discuss it. I want to share my thoughts with it. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the show. And first off, let's discuss the plethora of trailers that we had come out these past 2.5, 3 weeks. Starting, of course, with Spider-Man. Spider-Man Homecoming released its first full trailer. So now we have a bit more of a storyline. We've been told by Marvel, we've been told by Sony that this is not going to be another origin story. So we're not going to see Uncle Ben die a third time. We're not going to get that whole I was an awkward kid and I was bit by a spider. This seems to be a continuation from Captain America: Civil War. So it's not a reboot, it's not a revival, it's not a reshot of the original story. This is a continuation of the Spider-Man storyline. So Tom Holland is reprising the role as Peter Parker. Robert Downey Jr. again comes back as Tony Stark / Iron Man. And we have a couple of new players. Michael Keaton is playing Vulture. I'm not too sure. I couldn't figure out who Donald Glover is going to be, but I think he's going to be a pivotal member, and we've also seen a little bit more um, what's her face? I believe her name's Zendaya. Come out, and we saw a little bit of that. The trailer looks great. The movie looks vibrant. It looks like it's got the same sort of humor that Marvel has entered into this cinematic universe that they have. The problem I have with it is that it's too much like Iron Man 3. It's too much. Here's a man, or here's a hero that everybody knows. They rely heavily on their technology or they rely heavily on, in this case, his suit, and tries to just take the entire world, put it on their shoulders, and and try to be the superhero that he got to work with. And I mean, and again, this is a continuation from Civil War. So we've seen Spider-Man in action during the big airport fight scene. So we've seen what Spider-Man can do. He's been Spider-Man for a while. He's been able to work out the kinks, both in his technology and his technique. I'm sure that this will take place maybe a couple months, maybe like a year or two, something in that type of area, as far as like Peter Parker is good to go. Peter Parker is not going to just take over the like your neighbor, your neighborhood Spider-Man, or whatever it's called. He really wants to take on the big guys. No, fooey with the robbers that will knock over the local bodega or the banks. I want to go after the big guys. And enter Michael Keaton and his crew of mischief mayhem type people. And again, so now Iron Man, who's learned from his own mistakes of trusting his suit more than trusting himself in Iron Man 3, decides that, well, since you couldn't really handle being Spider-Man and you really couldn't just sit back and let the adults play, or the adults do their jobs, essentially, the whole point of Spider-Man having his suit is just gone. The Iron Man rips him of his suit, and in turn, we now have a Spider-Man who feels he's powerless, and a Spider-Man who has to start from his beginnings in order to get to the point where he earns the respect of Tony Stark. And this is all speculation on a 2-minute trailer. And the trailer was, again, it was great. It was vibrant. The technology in the suit definitely had the Tony Stark touch to it. But all in all, the kid was trusting his suit rather than trusting his own instincts, and that can bite him in the ass, for all intents and purposes. That is what will be his ultimate downfall. And Tony Stark sees that and says, well, you know what? You're not going to be, you can't wear that suit. This suit does not define you. You define yourself, but you have to figure it out for yourself. So it's going to have that whole bringing of, that coming of age of Spider-Man. Now, we've also heard some news that Spider-Man universe is going to be completely separate from that of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man will still play like he did in Captain America Civil War. However, he will have his own cinematic universe. So Sony is still kind of playing their own version of the nuclear of a nuclear option, and say, whoa, wait a minute, we're going to have our own Spider-Man universe, and we're still going to use Tom Holland. So this is going to be interesting because twice Sony's had the opportunity of making Spider-Man movies, and for the purpose of money, did a very good job. For the purpose of winning the fans over, did a, you know, they're still quite the laughingstock. In fact, I saw a couple of tweets the other day saying, "Has anyone watched Spider-Man 3? The walk that Tobey Maguire does, the emo dance, as we all call it. It is pretty cheesy and pretty funny, if I do have to admit myself. And I'm a pretty dopey dancer as it is as well. So, with that being said, will Sony then just take over the Spider-Man storyline? How much of Homecoming has Spider-Man? How much of Homecoming does Marvel have invested in it? How much of it does Sony have? There's a lot of variables that could come out with all this, and I guess we'll have to see how Spider-Man Homecoming does in a couple months. Compared to that of the Amazing Spider-Man series with Andrew Garfield and the Spider-Man series with Tobey Maguire. We've already seen that Tom Holland can do a decent job as Peter Parker. He's got the jokes, he's got the naivety of a high schooler trying to play with the big league. And I think, again, they're going to kind of bank on this for the rest of the film, and that can make or break this entire series. And also, it might put we'll probably see Spider-Man again in Infinity War up against Thanos, but if this is truly a standalone movie where the only real connection is Tony Stark, and the connection that he has is the missing father figure that Spider-Man so desperately needs, well, then I guess, the other movies will be suited for its own cinematic universe. And maybe maybe they can help bring, Sony's the only one that really has Spider-Man, but you have so many places you could go with the Spider-Man series. You can go with Venom. You could bring in Carnage. You can bring in, if you wanted to, you could even bring Deadpool in. But I think the nitty-gritty of Ryan Reynolds, Wade Wilson, might not mesh up too well with the Marvel image that Disney's Marvel has been coming out with. It'll be very interesting to see where they do decide to go after this movie comes out. Because once this movie's out, there's infinite possibilities. So it should be interesting to see what it is. I don't know if I'm too thrilled with the coming of age type film that this is going to be. However, it might be better than just rebooting the whole series again, which, it's not their only other option, but it's certainly an option that everyone was hoping that they wouldn't go for. So we're all pretty happy that they're not going with the reboot of the original series of, oh man, he's Uncle Ben's dead. With great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility. We're seeing this again. Oh boy. So it is good to see that. However, it looks as though there is a bit of a problem with this coming of age story. And we also saw that in the next trailer that was released by Marvel, Thor Ragnarok. The trailer came out about, I think it was 2 days ago, and it looked a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy. So much. The titles alone made me think of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It looked like they got the same the same graphic designer to do both things. It's just like, just vary it up a little bit. But also, it looks as if the humor from the Guardians of the Galaxy series is finally going to hit Thor. We know Chris Hemsworth has a bit of a funny bone in him from the past of seeing him in the blooper trailers of both Thor movies, both Avenger movies. We know he's a relaxed kind of funny guy, and we're excited to see him. Um, Ragnarok again looks as if it's a coming of age film. Thor loses his hammer, loses I'm gonna butcher this name, but it loses his hammer, and eventually is marooned on an island where he's now to become a gladiator. And then the big reveal, the main event, Thor versus Space Hulk. How epic was it? And the reaction was just beautiful, where he recognizes his friend, and we we know each other from work. It's just a simplistic mind of Thor, yelling that out and seeing the disgust on Jeff Goldblum and Loki's face, Tom Hiddleston's face, was truly just amazing. But it looks like it's going to be a bit, a lot lighter than Dark World was, and it looks to us to kind of bring in that light-hearted nature of Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man and yeah, those are really two of the lightheartedness movies from Marvel, and they were both standalone. So to bring this kind of to bring this kind of lightheartedness to the movie seems to be a good move, because we just came back from this emotional Captain America Civil War. Then later in the year, we had Doctor Strange come out, a very good origin movie. I had one issue from it, but I'm not even sure if it's worth mentioning. And then of course we'll have Guardians of the Galaxy come out, which is bringing back your humor, and then Spider-Man will come out roughly around the same time. So the timeline of all these movies, and we know that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be part of Infinity War. So all of this is going to tie together. We're going to get that pretty little bow on top of our gift, and we'll be pretty much good to go. So, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I laughed. I thought the action, the visuals were stunning. I thought it looked like every other Thor movie, just with a little bit more light to it. I know some people were changing around the poster, desaturating the colors and stuff because it was a little too bright, which, I mean, it's personal preference. I think that this is going to be a fun movie, which I don't think I would ever use the word fun in a Thor, to describe a Thor movie. The origin was very well done, explained everything, brought in a major character in the Avengers universe. It really did accentuate the fact that this is a god amongst men and women. And then with Dark World, it really showed the power of the Infinity Stones and how one stone can completely... I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy did the same thing. However, that was more of a standalone. Whereas this, you knew it was an Infinity Stone of some sort. And you saw its full-on power with... you don't send its full-on power unless you see it bound with a person, and that's what happened with Natalie Portman's character of Jane. We also heard Jane will not be returning for the rest of the series. Again, you kind of heard it in the Avengers: Age of Ultron, when Tony Stark and Thor were both saying that uh, that their respective girlfriends were off doing great things in their respective fields. Pepper was running Stark Industries at a very, very good and very well um, like run company. And then the Jane is off taking care of her astronomy type things that helped her discover Thor in the first place. So you know these rumors that Natalie Portman is over with, and people getting a little bit upset about it. Yeah, I mean, it would have been great to see Natalie Portman again. However, you know, if there was no use for her, there's no point in trying to mash in a love interest if this movie doesn't even take place on Earth. Or if it does take place on Earth, like, for more than 5 minutes. Because Thor's not going to jump back to Earth and then try to find Jane. He's going to try to figure out what brought him to Earth in the first place. So there's a lot to go with. We do know that part of this film will stem off of what happened in Age of Ultron. Seeing his visions within the discovering of Vision, and ultimately bringing to life Vision. So it looks like it'll be a fun movie, but it'll look like it'll be a very major bridged movie between I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Between the Captain America Civil War series and the Avengers Age of Ultron into the Infinity War movies. So and bringing back the Hulk, we knew Mark Ruffalo was around to tape some of the stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean we might see Bruce Banner, but it might point out to the fact that he's Hulk all the time, because that's the best way to get a gladiator out of him. So the Hulk reveal was great. Couldn't have been better in a later trailer. Yeah, maybe have his patented roar, or maybe see his eyes in the dark before he blew the door open. Maybe that could have worked out well for this teaser, and then for the full trailer actually unveil that Hulk is there. But now we'll get to see where the Hulk's been since Age of Ultron. So I think it's going to be a great movie. I think it'll be it'll be better than Dark World, hopefully. And I honestly do think that it might be, a decently good movie. One of the bigger trailer releases that came out this past couple weeks while I was gone was Zack Snyder's third film in the DCEU, Justice League. Batman, Ben Affleck's Batfleck, is ready to bring the Justice League into the Justice League back, because there is a very scary and very dark entity that is about to come upon either Metropolis, Gotham, National City, I don't know, you name it. So he enlists the help of Cyborg, The Flash, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman in a very less than colorful manner. And I do believe there was some extra footage in which we did see a caped man or woman meet the military. So obviously Superman's going to be coming back. Henry Cavill is definitely in the movie. He will be on the press tour. However, it does not look like we will be seeing Superman in any of the press material. Maybe in another trailer we might see something, or in a TV um, in a TV spot or something rather another. We might see a little bit of Superman, but I don't believe they're really going to push his character all that much. They're going to save that for the actual movie. I think that's great because they kind of, with Batman v Superman, they kind of spoiled the surprise of having Doomsday come out. And again, this goes back to the Hulk thing where they could have done something to sort of tease the Hulk. And the same thing with Batman v Superman. They could have had Doomsday's roar be something, and then do the scene with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman sitting there saying, with everything burnt to the side, and you see all of them standing together. You could have done that and not reveal Doomsday too early. And same thing with Hulk. Don't have Hulk come out, maybe have his eyes or his yell. I mean, there's only one person we know in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that yells or that roars. So I would, immensely appreciate if they kept Superman hidden for most of the press, for most of the press releases, for TV spots, for different sort of things. And I would say, just see what kind of what kind of reaction people would get if you kept that a secret. And I think it would be great. The chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman. Hey, Crit Camp, what's going on? The I think it would be absolutely. I loved it. I love the back and forth between them, and it gives you a little bit of the Avengers back and forth between, especially Tony Stark and still in Midtown. Oof, that's rough stuff. It shows the back and forth between Tony Stark, Steve Rogers. Do you want to come up? We could get you a special guest if you want to come uptown. So it would be it's going to be fun to see the two of them together. We got to see a little bit of their back and forth in the Comic-Con reveal, and then this trailer we got to see more of it. With G Deep. You want to take a second? So the series is it looks like this might be a revival, but then again, it looks like it might be a revival with Wonder Woman, which I surprisingly have not seen that much of. I haven't seen that much of promotions for. We saw the trailers. I see a couple of billboards in the bus stops, on the buses and stuff like that. But I don't see the actual, I don't see any push for it. And again, this might show that they're probably a little nervous by it. And I hate to see that kind of stuff. But then again, I see stuff on Twitter. I see people like printing out articles saying that this is the movie we need. This is the absolute, this is the movie we all need. This will break the rut of the DC terrible movies. Rotten Tomatoes will finally love this movie. I mean, I hope so. I hope we don't hear that it's, people are like, it could have been better. I mean, again, the trailers look promising. It has a bit more light to it adds a bit more light to the series. And again, Justice League looks like it's going to be dark. It looks like it'll happen at night, or some giant clouds are going to come over and darken everything. I mean, the scene with Aquaman riding on top of the Batmobile and then jumping into action, it was pitch dark. It was pitch black. And then they're fighting in a cave, it looks like, for some point. You know, they're like, there's how you doing? How you doing, love and life? Um, you know, it, why does it always dark? Like, at least with Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, you know, there were some fighting scenes that were outside during the day, especially when Batman comes back to Gotham to fight Bane. I for one would love to see these movies with a little bit of color, which I think we're gonna get because of the likes of Ezra Miller's Flash and Cyborg. It looks like we'll be getting a little bit more color into it. And with Wonder Woman's costume, her outfit looks more colorful in this than it did in Batman v Superman, and it definitely looks more colorful in Wonder Woman. So I'm just like really, really interested to see if, really, really interested to see what sort of, um, what sort of direction they decided to take it in. Because Batman v Superman didn't do too well with the reviews. Suicide Squad didn't do too well with the reviews. Man of Steel did all right with the reviews, made all right kind of money. However, there was really no, there was really no connection between this movie and the rest of the DCEU, other than the fact that they're using the same Superman. And again, it was a standalone movie. The only real thing that they were going to do was bring Henry Cavill back as Superman. However, now they're saying, "Oh yeah, it was meant to be the first movie in the DCEU to begin with." And it's like, all right, if you want to finagle that, that's fine. And Batman v Superman, they did kind of, just to kind of figure it all out, and we'll see what's going on. Hopefully this movie will bring it all together, and I don't think Wonder Woman will be too much of a connection, because this is kind of her origin story. This should have came out before the original, before Batman v Superman came out. Wonder Woman should have came out then, just so we knew who she was, or just keep her as a regular woman. Don't bring out Wonder Woman in the final battle. Let it be Batman v Superman v Doomsday. Let her go off in her way, so that we know that it's someone significant with the way she was playing with Ben Affleck, with Bruce Wayne. But don't do the full reveal. And again, you kind of wasted your reveal with Doomsday and with Wonder Woman, because now we know who she is, but we don't know anything about her in this cinematic universe. I mean, we know plenty about her, but we don't know anything about her in the cinematic universe. So it's kind of backwards with the way Marvel's taken it, where it's been, where it started with Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and then just bring everybody else in for the Avengers. Should Hawkeye get his own thing? Yeah. Yes, and Wonder Woman did save both of them for 5 minutes. She did a great job for those last 5 minutes. However, it should not have happened that way. Final trailer we'll discuss that came out, or final major trailer that I'll discuss for tonight at least, is that of Transformers Last Night. The Last Night, not Last Night. That's a dirty movie that will be coming out probably after Transformers The Last Night comes out. Um, this one looks different. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that there might be a little bit of heart in this one. We did get to see a bit of we did get to see Optimus Prime turn evil, but we saw why, and it's gonna be it's definitely gonna be an interesting movie. Again, it's the Michael Bay special. There's lots of explosions. Storyline will be there. It's just basically yeah, Transformers. With Mark Wahlberg. Transformers. Um, it's it's gonna be an interesting movie to say the least. These movies again are not the greatest movies ever. However, they make um, they make enough money for them to keep coming back with it. Mark Wahlberg returns in it. His daughter does not, and I guess the little girl that he's running around with in this movie, she'll ask why and all that kind of stuff. Um, I really don't know what else to make of it. I mean, it looks like it's just going to be a lot of action. The Dinobots are back. These knights, these guardians or whatever, however it was explained in the last one, they made a return, and then Josh Duhamel comes back, which should be interesting because we haven't seen him in a movie. We hope that they kind of give us a sort of background as to where he's been. Apparently, uh, apparently with the absence of his character, it seems as though he has gone from being pro Autobots to anti Allbots. So, I mean, we'll have to see what's going on. It seems as if it's going to be a quite the interesting movie. Whether this is the final one that they're doing, I don't know. I believe there might be a slate of three more, at least three more coming out. I mean, here, if they continue making the money that they're making, great. If the people continue having fun on it while they're making it, great. Then keep doing it. It's entertaining. If there's no movies on that I really want to watch, I turn this on, and guess what? I'm entertained. So these movies are serving their purpose of entertaining people. They're not serving the purpose of being an Oscar-worthy movie, because guess what? Not every movie has to be an Oscar-worthy movie, especially when it comes to Transformers or any of the comic book movies, except for that of maybe Deadpool and Logan. So, which I still have not seen Logan yet. But Transformers, The Last Night came out. It looks as if there's a lot of inner conflict within the Autobots and stuff, and they actually get to show something called heart with this whole thing. So it'll be interesting, to say the least, to see what they, how they approach this whole thing, especially the turn of Optimus Prime from, leader of the good guys to attacking Bumblebee. So it'll be interesting. I mean, that's the only thing I could really say about these Transformer movies, is that it's going to be interesting. Now,